one of the biggest pending decisions in the silly season for NASCAR, is expected to be made official tomorrow, but the report is that 2017 NASCAR Cup Series champion Martin Truex Jr. will retire at the end of 2024. This report coming from Jordan Bianchi, it says, Martin Truex Jr., the 2017 Cup Series champion and one of the best drivers of his generation, is expected to announce his retirement this weekend, effective at the end of the season. Sources briefed on his plans told The Athletic. Truex is expected to make the decision public at a news conference Friday afternoon at Iowa Speedway, the site of Sunday's race. So yes, Martin Truex Jr., who has 34 career race wins in the Cup Series, of course, won the 2017 championship. Didn't just win the 2017 championship, dominated that season. One of the most dominant seasons we've seen in the 21st century. With that 8-win season, 19 top 5s, 26 top 10s, over 2,200 laps led in that season. Truex has won not just with the team he won the championship with which is Furniture Row. I want to talk about them in a minute, but he won with DEI. He won with Michael Waltrip Racing. He won with, as I said, Furniture Row, and of course, Joe Gibbs Racing, with whom he currently races and has raced with since 2019. And the thing about that championship that he won is that it almost was not what you expected. Now, yes, Furniture Row had an alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. They were with Toyota, and they were fast. They won 4 races in 2016 in their first year with Toyota. But when you go into a season, you look at your championship favorites, and you look at the big teams. You look at a Joe Gibbs, a Rick Hendrick, Team Penske, the big names, the big teams. But out of nowhere, Furniture Row kind of snuck up, and a big part of that was Martin Truex Jr. making their first championship 4 together with Chevy in 2015, winning a race at Pocono that year, taking the next step forward. Well, you could argue they didn't make the championship 4 in 2016, but they won 4 races. Martin Truex Jr. in that 2016 season put together one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant, races in NASCAR history. Truex led 392 out of 400 laps, which is equivalent to 588 out of the 600 miles of the 2016 Coca Cola 600. As I said, maybe the most dominant single performance we've seen in modern NASCAR history. And then they took that other step forward in 2017. They didn't just beat Joe Gibbs Racing. They didn't just beat Hendrick Motorsports. They dominated that season. 8 race wins, a championship on top of it. And that's in a format where, yeah, you can win 8-9 races up to Phoenix, up to Homestead where it was at the time, but there's no guarantee you're going to win the championship. You still have to put it together in that final race. And Martin Truex Jr. and that Furniture Row team, Cole Perrin, they put it all together, and they ended up winning that 2017 championship at Homestead. Obviously, one of the biggest accomplishments of his career. He won a couple of Xfinity championships as well. He's won Cup races. He's won Xfinity races. He's won 13 Xfinity races to be exact. He's even won a truck race back at the Bristol Dirt Race in 2021. That was one of his most random wins. But we remember Martin Truex Jr. because I feel like every time he wins, everyone talks about how it's a typical Truex win. He dominates. He obliterates the field, and it's a boring race in a sense because no one can catch him. And I feel like that's ultimately what it is. But Truex right now, 5th in the standings, still chasing another Cup Series championship. He has a lot left to accomplish. He wants to make it to Phoenix at the end of the season with his team, with Joe Gibbs Racing. He wants to win a championship with Joe Gibbs Racing, of course. But Martin Truex Jr., a very accomplished NASCAR driver, a quiet personality, and it's no shock that he's announcing his retirement in the middle of the season with how quiet he is, how reserved he is. It's no surprise to see him not have a full season send-off party. My guess was always going to be that it was going to be late October, and Truex would have told everyone internally, but he'd wait till October so that he didn't have to deal with that. But ultimately, this decision coming in June, he's done this past couple of years. 2022, he waited till about this time to announce he was returning. Last year, he waited till August. And this year, once again in June, whether it was pressure from Joe Gibbs Racing to get a decision quicker or whether he just finally made up his mind, Martin Truex Jr. ultimately decided to retire at the end of the 2024 season. As I said, a long, successful Hall of Fame career, by the way. We'll be watching that story the rest of this season, see how it goes, see where he gets his final win, because there's no way he doesn't win a race this year. He should have 2 or 3 at this point already, but Martin Truex Jr. is retiring. Now, obviously, the next question is, who replaces him? Who goes to Joe Gibbs Racing? That is a highly coveted spot to go to. That's a highly coveted car to drive. So who could it be? Well, this report says Truex's departure creates a coveted opening at Joe Gibbs Racing, regarded as one of NASCAR's elite organizations. The team is not expected to make Truex's announce a replacement immediately, but Chase Briscoe is considered one of the leading candidates to fill the vacancy, sources briefed on the team's plans said. Briscoe, 29, currently drives for Stewart-Haas Racing, which announced last month it was closing down at the end of the 2024 season. He has scored 1 win in 124 Cup starts and qualified for the 2022 playoffs. Now, this report came out a couple of weeks ago that if Truex were to retire, some of the candidates were Chase Briscoe, Noah Gragson, and then even Eric Jones got thrown in that mix. So there was already kind of reports on this, but there was no saying how serious it was. But it seems like it's pretty serious that Chase Briscoe could end up at Toyota. Chase Briscoe, a driver that Toyota has held in high regards for years now, obviously won that Phoenix race in the spring of 2022. But Chase Briscoe, would he leave Ford? Obviously, Stewart-Haas Racing shutting down at the end of the season. He's looking for a job, looking for a ride. And I know that Ford has been so loyal to him, has helped him through his career. But if he gets the opportunity to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing, he has got to take it. I know it may hurt Ford a bit, but that's too good of a seat to pass up, despite how much loyalty you have to a manufacturer. The situation Chase Briscoe's in right now is that really he has no loyalty in a sense. I know a lot of reports have been tying him to the Wood brothers, but once again, if he is given a contract in front of him, he should absolutely sign it. I believe in Chase Briscoe. I think he's a talented driver who can win races. And if he's in that Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, I truly believe he can contend for race wins. He will make the playoffs consistently and maybe one day can be a championship threat. I'm not quite ready to say that yet, but at the same time, he's been at Stewart-Haas Racing who struggled, so it's hard to get a real good gauge in a sense. But if not Briscoe, we'll see. But right now it seems to be the way that's trending. But as for Martin Truex Jr., as I said, future Hall of Famer, we'll talk about him. I'll share some of my favorite Truex memories throughout the season. I'm sure tell you just some personal stories as well. But Martin Truex Jr., the 2017 champion, is expected to announce tomorrow that he is retiring. Chase Briscoe right now, the favorite to replace him. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Once the news is made official, I'll let you know tomorrow. And if somehow it's not, then, well, that would be awkward. But thanks again for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. We got Iowa this weekend, the first ever Cup race at Iowa. Xfinity returns to Iowa, so should be a fun one.